Alright, so today we're going to solve linear inequalities. In an inequality are these little less than signs and greater than signs. So let's take a couple notes. This sign is greater than. Okay, and for today's purpose, if you have a greater than sign, that means you're going to shade above. Okay, so then we have a less than sign. And less than is mean you're going to shade below a line. Okay, so I have two other things. If you have a greater than or a less than sign, that means you're going to have a dashed line. So what's that? That's going to look like? You're going to have a dashed line like that. And if you have an equal to sign underneath it, like any of these, that means you're going to have a solid line. Okay? So if you have a greater than or a less than, and those can be equal to, greater than shade above, less than shade below. And if they don't have an equal to, you'll make a dashed line. And if they have an equal to, you will make that a solid line. So this is just like graphing, except you have to shade. So let's look at these examples. So on number 1, I need to first graph this line. So I'm going to start at this y-intercept of a -1 and make a point. Then I'm going to do my slope, and my slope is -2/3. So that means down 2 and right 3. So from this line, I'm going to go down 2, right 3, make a point. Down 2, right 3, and make a point. Now to get some more points up here, I'm going to do the opposite and go up 2, left 3. And go up 2 and left 3. Once you have your points, you have to ask yourself, am I going to have a dashed line or a solid line? And since this does not have an equal to, I'm going to have a dashed line. So you're going to draw a dash. Okay? So now you have to see if you're going to shade above or below. So since this symbol means less than, that means I need to shade everything below this line. I'm going to shade this whole part. Okay? So what that means is any of these points down here in this shaded region will satisfy this equation. Okay? So let's look at this one over here, number 2. I'm going to start at a +3. You're going to do a slope of 3/5. So up 3/5. And to get another point, I'm going to go down 3/5. Okay? So now I need to see if it's dashed or solid. So since there's no equal to, that's a dashed line. And now I just need to see if I need to shade above or below. So this is a greater than sign, so I need to shade everything above here. Okay? So everything up here is a solution to that equation. Let's turn it over, or go down, and look at these problems. If you want, you can try these on your own and press pause and see if you get the right answer. So the first thing, I'm going to graph this y-intercept at a -1. My slope is a -4/5. So that means I'm going to go down 4 and right 5. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, right 5. To get more points up here, I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 5. So now I need to graph this line. To see if it's dashed or dotted, look at this sign right here. So since it's equal to, I'm going to draw a solid line. And now I need to shade above or below. And so this sign is a less than, so I need to shade everything below. Okay? So what this solid line means is any point on this line will count. So for example, this point right here, 5, 6, or 5, negative 5, is a solution. And anything below here. So let's look at this one. Graph this one. I'm going to go to a plus 4. My slope is a positive 1/2, so I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. I'm going to get some points by here by doing the opposite. Okay, so now I need to see if it's solid or dashed, and it's going to be a solid line. Now shade above or below. Less than is below, so I'm going to shade everything below here. Okay? So once again, every point on this line is a solution, and any point below it's going to be a solution. So now if you'll turn on the back, these are not any harder. The only thing is they're not in y equals mx plus b, so we have to use our knowledge of Monday and Tuesday and change this into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to write it down here. So first thing I'm going to do is minus x on both sides. Rewrite 4y less than or equal to. I need to rewrite this in order, so I'm going to write the negative x first. Okay, now I'm going to divide by 4 on every term. So you would get y is less than or equal to negative 1/4 x minus 3. So now I need to take this equation and graph it up here. So I'm going to start at a negative 3 and then go down 1 over 4. I'm also going to get some more points up here by going up 1 and over 4. Okay, so now ask yourself if it has to be solid or dashed, and since this was an equal to, it's going to be a solid line. It's a really bad line. And then, let's see, this sign says less than, so I'm going to shade everything below it. Okay, so not any harder, just one more extra step we had to do. Alright, so why don't you pause this and try number 6 on your own. Alright, so when I changed it over, I got negative 5/3 x plus 1. So I'm going to graph that by going to a positive 1 on the y, and then doing my slope of down 5 over 3. I'm going to get some more points up here and go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3. Okay, now I need to see if it's solid or dashed, and since this is equal to, it's a solid line. And then I need to see if it is above or below. So this is greater than, so I need to shade above that line. Okay, so this is my solution area. Now 7 and 8 are a little trickier because your y is a negative. So notice both of these are negatives. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me rewrite it down here. So I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm still going to minus 2x. So I have negative 3y greater than or equal to negative 2x plus a 9. Now, if you remember back to September, August, when you divide by a negative, what happens to this sign? It flips, and that's going to be true here. So I'm going to divide by a negative 3, and since I divided by a negative, my sign is going to flip. So I would immediately do that. I would bring down my y. I know a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so I'm going to leave that as 2/3. And then minus 3. So, the most important thing is when you divide by a negative, the sign flips. Okay? So instead of being a greater than sign, it's actually going to be a less than or equal to. So let's go up here and graph this. You're going to start at a negative 3. Your slope is a positive 2 over 3. So do the opposite, down 2, left 3 to get some more points. Okay? So is it going to be a solid or a dashed? This is equal to, so it's going to be a solid. And then this is less than. And so if you're confused with less than or above, you can always go to the y-intercept and go down for less than. So it's going to be everything over there. Okay? So again, if you want to try number 8 on your own, press pause, and it will pop up in a second. But I'm going to do it with you. So I'll rewrite it. You will minus 2x on both sides. Don't forget that negative with the y. So negative y is greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 1. There's an imaginary 1 right here, so you're going to divide by a negative 1. So since I divided by a negative, go ahead and flip your sign. So flip it immediately. So you'd have y, negative 2 divided by negative 1 is a positive 2. And then negative 1 divided by a negative 1 is a positive 1. So now I can go up here and graph this. So go to a positive 1 on the y. And do your slope of a 2. And remember, this is always over 1 if you need help graphing. So you'd go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. To get some more points, you'll go down to left 1. Yes, you need to continue that line all the way down. So is it going to be solid or dashed? I actually messed up. It should be, I rewrote it wrong. So I messed up a little bit on there because it shouldn't have had a line underneath it. So it should be dashed. So draw the best dash line you can, and it should be less than now that we switched it, so I'm going to shade below. Alright, so that is how you solve a system of, or graph a system of linear inequalities. Now if you need practice, I have a practice worksheet, or you can go on IXL. T3 is really great. Also, if you have a little bit of extra time, you can do T2 and T1. Okay?